What happened? What happened? So, something happened on here. It did happen. We was trying to see these reports of flying saucers and stuff through the FBI and through their FBI vault. And you can see it right here. Flying discs between 9:30 and 9:45 last night, August the 19th, in Twin Falls, Idaho, while sitting on the front porch with Miss Whatever, they observed an object resembling a flying saucer traveling very rapidly from the southwest section of the city. About 10 minutes later, all of these individuals saw 10 similar objects proceeding rapidly in the same direction in the form of a triangle. As this group of objects was about to disappear in the overcast sky, 3 of the objects on the left flank peeled off and proceeded in a northerly direction. The remaining objects in the triangular formation appeared to close ranks and continue in a northeasterly direction. 3 to 5 minutes later, these individuals saw another group of 3 objects proceeding in the same direction, again in the shape of a triangle. 3 to 5 minutes later, informants observed another group consisting of from 5 to 6 objects, again in triangle formation, proceeding rapidly in a northeasterly direction. A few minutes later, a large group of objects estimated at between 35 and 50 flew over the city in a northeasterly direction, again in something, you all. Let me see this. Again in, are you all there? Yeah, again in something, you all. Let me see this. Again in triangular formation. Between 20 and 25 minutes later, after the last group was observed, similar objects were noted coming back over the city very rapidly and proceeding in a southwesterly direction. At this time, informants stated that the objects appeared in groups of 3, 5, and 7. At this point, Miss Blank called the detective, the Twin Falls Police Department, a next-door neighbor who, accompanied by also members of the Twin Falls Police Department, proceeded to the home where they observed a group of 12 objects flying in formation over the city in a southwesterly direction. And informants, all reputable citizens, this community, unable to estimate the height of the objects or the speed, but claimed that they resembled illuminated flying saucers. These individuals were of the opinion that the objects observed were not the landing lights of airplanes nor shooting stars. None of these objects were seen to come to Earth near Twin Falls, and none appeared to be flying in an arc. None of these observers heard any sound of the disc above objects passed over the city. Investigation continuing in line with the Bureau instructions contained Bureau Bulletin number 42, paragraphs B, dated July the 31st of 1947. In event, Bureau in possession of any information concerning activities. Page 3, part of the Army Forces, which explains the phenomenon. Advice would be greatly appreciated. It is believed continued appearance of such objects without official explanation may result in hysteria and panic. They don't want people to panic. If this stuff keeps going on, you all, they said part of the Army and Air Force may explain these phenomenons, and any advice would be appreciated. It is believed if continued appearance of such objects without official explanation may result in hysteria or panic. Twin Falls, Idaho, ACKN on hold, please. FBI, Washington, D.C., you all. This is what's going on. The FBI in Washington, D.C., they want to know what's going on with this. Something's going on. Hello. You all, I was on earlier, and then something happened to me, and now I'm on again. So it's like wild. It is so wild, you all. This stuff right here, I don't know what it is. Let me see this. Following investigations was conducted. You all of this spate of stuff happened when the Roswell incident happened in 1947. So they started investigating everything. Look at this. This is August. Just look at all the flurry of stuff that happened. Rosburg, Oregon operator Myrtle Creek, Oregon, advised on 8/6/47 that he noticed an object east of Myrtle Creek, which appeared to be from 5,000 to 8,000 feet in the air. And the sky was completely clear and visibility was excellent. He stated that the object glistened and appeared to be of aluminum sheeting. Upon noticing it, he had immediately taken over the control of the plane, which at that time was at 400 feet, and proceeded east in an attempt to further observe the object. He advised that the object appeared to be climbing and traveling east at a high rate of speed, and he estimated on a computer in his plane as 1,000 miles an hour. He believed the object to be spherical in shape and recalled noticing a darker object to the right the first time he saw it. He observed no vapor trails, nor did he hear any noise from the object. After searching the area for approximately 10 minutes, and his student returned to the airport and made another landing and took off. In practically the same position at 400 feet altitude, both and saw the object in approximately the same position as seen before. He estimated the sphere to be 30 feet in diameter and stated when they first observed it, it appeared to be so near that he could fly right into it. However, the object the second time was sighted, it disappeared in the same manner as the first one had. It is noted that served as a lieutenant in JG in the U.S. Naval Air Corps for about 3.5 years, flying constantly on the Atlantic Submarine Patrol. He is a reputable citizen in the Douglas County and is reported to be qualified pilot. In Myrtle Creek, Oregon, verified the above information as furnished by stating that the first object sighted had been called to his attention when such and such took over the control of the plane and about 400 feet following his takeoff, but that they had both sighted the object on the second takeoff at the same time. He described the object as a silver ball or balloon, which he believed to be 8 miles east of Myrtle Creek, traveling east and climbing very fast until it disappeared in approximately 45 seconds, estimated the sphere as being 50 feet in diameter, and stated in his opinion the second object appeared to climb straight up. You all, if you're just tuning in, I found these FBI stuff. FBI papers is what I found, and I'm reading them, is what I'm doing. I thought, wow, this is like kind of wild. It really is wild. You all, let me stick myself up here. I could be up here a little bit if I'm still in the viewing. You all, let me come back over here. This is wild. He advised that he did not observe any evidence or notion that vapor or trails. It left nothing. He could not hear any noise over the noise of his own ship. Investigation in the vicinity of Myrtle Creek, Oregon, has failed to reveal any other person sighting the objects reported by no further investigation. Look at this memorandum, August the 14th. Is that the August the 14th of 1947? This is all the FBI vault of UFOs, you all. flying disc, there are attached 2 copies of a blind memorandum setting forth the facts relative to the reported air crash of 2 AAF officers investigating flying disc complaints. It is recommended that a copy of this memorandum be furnished by the Liaison Section of the Air Force Intelligence, August the 15th of 1947. Reference is made to your telephonic conversation with the director of Wednesday in Washington. Dateline in an article indicated the Soviet espionage agents in the United States are under instruction to solve the flying discs. Such instructions were believed to be based on the assumption that the flying discs were a secret weapon of the Army or Navy, and the article attributed the source of its information to a federal investigation agency. Pursuant to your instructions, liaison representatives have contacted the headquarters of the Military Intelligence, the headquarters of the Air Force Intelligence Office, Naval Intelligence, and the CIG. All agencies agreed they denied any knowledge of the flying disc as well as any knowledge of the basis for this article, you all. These are actual reports. Office memorandum. The director advised on August the 14th of 47 that the Los Angeles papers were carrying a headline indicated that Soviet espionage agents had been instructed to determine the facts relative to the flying disc, and the article carried a Washington dateline and indicated that red espionage agents had been ordered to solve the question of the flying disc, being the opinion that might be some new form of defense perfected by the American military. The article further recalled that during the recent war pieces of tinfoil had been dropped in the air for the purpose of setting the value of radar being used by the enemy forces, that the aluminum disc might be a new development along this line. I informed him I never heard of any information indicated that the Soviet espionage agents had been instructed to obtain such information. A check at which the Air Corps Intelligence made it was found that they have no information relative to such a story. In accordance with the director instructions, advised Mr. Nichols that in the event of any inquiries were made concerning such a story, that the story should be flatly denied, and so as far as the FBI was concerned. Receipt of your letter. Look at this file, newspaper clipping. Something. I am tired of human nonsense. Something they're tired about war disrupting order. Solar system. So sent flying disc. Let me see this. The tired of human nonsense. What awaits the Arctic? Is that Arctic? Arctic war disrupting order solar system. So sent flying disc and will set up world order under Martians late this year. Set up a world order under the Martians late this year. This is being set forth as a result of a laboratory decoding. Are we under control of the Martians? Is this what this said? Let me shrink it down. Tired of human nonsense. Await Arctic war disrupting order. Solar system. So sent flying disc and will set up the world order under Martians late this year. So that's 1947. Did we get set up under a Martian world order late this year, you all? Did we? The New York office should interview the writer of this letter to ascertain from what newspaper the clipping in question was obtained. Thereafter, contacting should be made with the newspaper to ascertain the identity of the something who sent in a coded message. This individual must be thoroughly interrogated to obtain the information surrounding the alleged receipt. So somebody said that we would do that. Can you all hear me? This is wild. We have a clipping, wheel, something. I had nothing better to do, so decode it for you. They decoded something for them. There's so sent the flying disc. Okay, let's see. Tired of human nonsense. I can't await atomic war. disrupting order something. So sent the flying discs and will set up a world order under late this year. Can you all read that writing, you all? Because I don't know what that thing said. Something about a world order and the Martians in 1947. It was a coded message. And I can't read it. No comments here. Security Division. This is the FBI stuff, you all. Oh, okay. Here's the coded message. Let's see the coded message. Oh, I guess they had some binary code. Ditter the human nonsense. Oh, tired. See why they do their letters like tired of the human nonsense. Await atomic war. Okay, so y'all, we can see it. Tired of the human nonsense. Won't await atomic war. Disrupting solar system. So we sent the flying disc and we will set up world order with Martians late this year. So that was the secret message that was sent back in 1947. So they did not want an atomic war. And this happened in, let's see when the thing was sent out, you all. They were trying to decode a message. And this has a timestamp of July the 21st of 1947 is what that one had a timestamp of. They did not want atomic war, so somebody sent their flying saucers out. And this is the coded message right here. Whether these something in which the structures, I can't read it. I don't want to read it. Look, they're calling for decoders, a country irritant from our mailbox. They need they need decoders. I guess for the alien writing. This will acknowledge receipt of your dated July. After careful revision of the contents of this letter, it was ascertained that the information contained therein would probably be of interest to the War Department. Therefore, I have taken the liberty of furnishing this information to the agency. They got some information, you all. It is noted from the interrogation of the claims that during the conference of July 31, apparently repeated their false story about the statement being fragments of flying disc, and only on Saturday night did they admit the story was a hoax. They was made a hoax. Okay, they got a hoax. Flying disc. San Francisco, Seattle, August the 5th. Intelligent officers recorded field advised that in their opinion from their investigation, there is no question of a crash of the B-25 at Kelslow, approximately 250, having been caused by any sabotage. They state their investigation indicates the left engine burned out of the exhaust stack and the wing would burn to break off. The left wing broke off and tore off the tail of the plane and it crashed into the ground, you all. I hope this is all right. We're reading stuff like this. Hello, you all. Intelligence officers in the 4th Air Force who were returning from McCord Field, Hamilton Field. The crew chief and a hitchhiker parachuted to safety from the plane. Only 4 members were aboard of the plane. So their wing broke off. And they don't know. They think regarding their report of seeing some flying disc over the Maury Island, is that WN, is that Wisconsin? And they obtained some of the disc fragments in Washington. This is according to Washington. On Tuesday, Captain Davidson and Lieutenant Brown on Thursday, the 31st, interviewed from Boise, Idaho, who was one of the first that reported seeing flying disc, and United Airlines pilot from Seattle, is that Wisconsin, you all? WN. who also reported seeing flying discs. This interview took place at the Winthrop Hotel on the afternoon of July the 31st. Captain Davidson and Lieutenant Brown were returning to Hamilton Field for Air Force Day and had with them some of the disc fragments as reported. And the United Press wireman, Ted of Tacoma, received anonymous phone calls July the 31st and August the 1st regarding the meeting of the Winthrop Hotel over the flying or the disc fragments that the B-25, which crashed in the morning of August, one that was sabotaged or shot down. Information is not yet verified, indicated the entire story started and possibly to promote the sale of slag found in a gravel pit. No information available as yet of the identity of the individual who made an anonymous phone call. You all. This is the War Department has furnished the Bureau with the following telegram. For further details concerning the flying discs, suggest immediate contact in Illinois, who may have important information concerning their origin. The War Department has furnished a memorandum entitled Report on Flying Saucers, July the 7th of 1947. Commanding General 32, the 32nd AAF, copies of which are attached. The War Department has stated that the incidents referred to in attached memorandum are in the general vicinity of, which was given as the address of in the above telegram. It is therefore desired that the Chicago Field Division conduct appropriate inquiries regarding such and such, and in the event such inquiries do not reveal information indicating he should be interviewed, he should be interrogated for any information that he might have relative to flying disc. It is desired that this matter be handled as soon as possible by the Bureau. So what happened? Yeah, this is, if you're just tuning in, this I logged off my YouTube, and it brought me to the main Google page or something, and this was the second thing on there. I thought, how did the FBI pop up on my search? Attached here to is a copy, unsigned telegraph received by AAF, a copy of the report on flying saucers which were observed by 4 witnesses while in flight in 2 airplanes over southern Wisconsin. Map with indications as to the proximity of the locations where flying saucers were reported to have been seen in relation to that time. In view of the fact the observation of the flying saucers was made corresponded closely with the date of the unsigned telegram, considering the proximity to the points where the objects were reserved, investigated to determine whether or not the information has flying saucers, you all. Yes. For further details concerning flying disc, suggest immediate contact of Illinois, who may have important information confirming their origin. So this person has their origin. So we're going to see while in flight. The visibility was exceptionally good, and they were at 6,000 feet. First reports 1,145 hours. Observers at 500 feet above ground altitude. Saucer was 4,000 feet. Observed period first sighted over Kukasung, Wisconsin. The flight was observed from the town of Koshinog, Wisconsin. This flight covered 25 miles in 15 seconds, which is the speed of 6,000 miles an hour. Second report at 1430 hours, altitude of observers 3,500 feet. Altitude of saucer was 2,500 feet. Observation period, observers at East Wisconsin. Flight observed from Eagle, Wisconsin to Muskogee, Wisconsin. Flight covered 22 miles in 20 seconds, which is a topped of 3,960 miles an hour. Flight maneuvers, observation, the saucer declined vertically throughout autonomous clouds, stopped at 4,000 feet and assumed horizontal position and proceeded in horizontal flight from a horizontal position for 15 seconds. covering 25 miles, and again stopped and disappeared. It's a second observations observed in horizontal flight in a horizontal altitude for a period of 20 seconds, covering 22 miles. By the time the pilot had recovered his sensors from from camera from the glove compartment of his plane, the saucer disappeared and again reappeared approximately 10 miles farther along its course after 6 seconds, making its final disappearance. The first two saucers were an instructor and a student. The first observers were an instructor and a student taken off from the airport. You all, so this is the map. I can't really read it. You all, this is strange. This is the map. The Colonel Cord following Intelligent War Department looks something. I can't read it. You all suggests something. They may have their origin. Address the commanding officer, attaches the memorandum, sets Illinois River, which was something, attached the memorandum, advised the fact, the observations, the points. Oh, so somebody they want to know where their origins at, you all. Security Matters, Chicago Herald American reported that Chicago reported seeing a disc 3:30 a.m. sailing above Lake Michigan off of Jackson Park Beach. Little unavailable for interview today. Father-in-law, they advised Little sighted disc over a month ago, and she is 18 years of age. No further inquiry, you all. There's an attached memorandum setting the pertinent information received by Detroit for flying saucers. This is August the 8th. Why was this flurry of investigations? Why did they all come out? It's recommended that the material be personally delivered to the liaison section to the appropriate contact in the War Department. Information received from Maryland, Dow Chemical Company, about 1922. Since 1922, bought some material to their physics laboratory. He stated that about 5:15 p.m. July the 9th, he and his wife Laura were walking in a field when they heard a puff noise about 100 feet away. They turned and they saw a small ball of white about the size of a bushel basket burning approximately a foot off the ground. The fire died out immediately, and later she scooped up a 3-inch core of fused sand in a can for examination at their laboratory. Upon interview, the FBI agents told substantially the same story, and they were reluctant to talk and very indefinite about what happened. They were marked discrepancies in their stories. Dow authorities consider the story fantastic, examining the material, and states that the contents are ordinary sand, not radio grit, not giving off ammonia gas. But they were giving off ammonia gas, a small silver nugget, almost pure except for sand, mixed in with it. Not radioactive, it molted or fused sand, which gives off ammonia odor, and little droplets of silver melted in sand, and some grayish color material which is radioactive. The level of radioactivity in this material is extremely low. An employee of Dow, formerly employed the government at Los Alamos Project, stated that the fused sand had some characteristics of Los Alamos sand, but he did not believe it was the same. So it's known to have in his possession a small quantity of luminous paint, radioactive, to be an amateur photographer and to have limited knowledge of chemistry. So this is since 1922. 1922. Oh, we got informants flying disc information. This is August the 5th, received from Dow Chemical. An employee of Dow on about 1922 brought some material to their physics laboratory, stating about 5:15 p.m. July, he and his wife were walking in a field owned by Dow, and 100 feet they heard a puff noise, turned and saw a ball of white about the size of a bushel burning basket in 3-inch area. I already read this, you all. So the contents were not, they had an ammonia smell. So neither party admits the story was a prank, but they have mentioned flying disc and rockets. Or interview was reluctant to discuss the matter. Flying discs, July the 28th, entitled. They got all kinds of information on flying saucers. They're enclosing copies of a report of additional sightings of flying discs by persons in Oregon, Arizona, together with the results of their investigation. It's noted that these investigations were conducted prior to the time Bureau instructions were issued that our own Bureau would conduct inquiries into the reported sightings of flying discs. Flying discs. Teletype. August the 3rd, he had been standing with a soldier stationed at Fort Dix, observing a ham radio rig atop a 2-story house on Simmons Avenue in Hackensack. It was approximately 7:45 p.m., and they were in his vicinity for the purpose of a meeting with his girlfriend and one other. They commented to him that a child had apparently lost its balloon, and they looked and about a block and a half away, and they noticed a round black object moving south to north and east to stop where no one was standing. They noticed that it was moving too fast to be an ordinary balloon, but he could not discern whether it was globular in form or a disc. He said it was about 30 to 40 inches in diameter, moving north in a horizontal plane, about 200 yards above the top of the mill at the Summit Avenue and Simmons Avenue. It proceeded at a steady rate. It emitted no rays, and it was moving fast enough to require them to turn their heads steadily in order to follow it. His girlfriend came about 15 seconds after they first sighted it, and they pointed it out to her. She said it looked like a bird on the horizon. It was so small, and it faded out of sight shortly thereafter. They said that a line dream along its apparent course of flight would go from the vicinity of Bendix, New Jersey, to the point of Westward, New Jersey. Also said that a man on the porch across the street noticed it and pointed it out to the women and said this man seemed excited, but he didn't do nothing about it. He said he was positive it was no optical illusion. He was not facing into the sun, and he saw the object clearly. He also said he would have thought nothing of it except for the speed of it was traveling, you all. And reading this stuff from the FBI, you all. This is like, oh my gosh. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of flying saucers. The event in question occurred at 7:30 on the evening of Sunday, August the 3rd. She said that one was in the house when they called her. She was in the house. She went out immediately and pointed to an object. She saw it just before it disappeared over the horizon. She declared that it was in the view from that time in approximately 1 minute. She said it was round and silver blue in color and appeared to be revolving. She said that she did not recall making any comment that it might have been a bird, and herself had no idea what it could have been. In view of the distance from which she noticed it, she said it could not have been more than 6 inches in diameter, but would have been much larger if she had been near it. She said she had never seen anything like that before. She said across the street, the daughter were the only people sitting on the porch, and she herself did not notice anyone pointing toward the object in question. The only other person around, to her knowledge, was her sister, who remained in the house and did not see the object. They stated that she was on the porch in the evening in question and with her mother, but did not notice any unusual object in the sky, nor had anyone be present there. The following information was received through an interview. The Company G, 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment, 9th Division, Fort Dix, New Jersey, advised that he was born. Oh, they're talking about their whatever. His mother was in whatever, and the girlfriend, the sister's fiance. They were looking at the radio antenna on the home near his address when they noticed an object about 2 to 3 feet in diameter moving rapidly, about 200 yards off the ground. And they said they thought at first it was a child's balloon, but when they noticed there was no wind and the object had no strings attached to it. He decided it was something else. He stated the object was moving in a steady, straight path going north. He said there was no exhaust or indication of any motive power for the object. He said they observed the object for 15 to 20 seconds. He could not give a description of the object's color or the material it was composed of, but said it looked like a large, flat child's cup than anything else he could think of, as the object was oval on the top, and it came to a point on the bottom side. He said that he stated maybe it's a flying saucer. He said he'd never seen anything move through the air quite like this object, and he had no idea where it came from. He stated that the neighbor, he nor had anything to drink, and there were sufficient light for them to observe the object. The flying disc was reported to the Hackensack Police Department. They advised the writer that the department had taken no further action, nor they received reports of the object in question from any other source. It may be noted that no other police department in the vicinity has been brought to the attention. If you're just tuning in, this is UFO reports from the FBI vault. Just for a slight period of years, when the Roswell incident happened, there was flying saucers seen all over the place. Oh my gosh, yeah. All over the place for these things. Various reports received by the Air Force in connection with UFOs, I think. It's all UFOs, every single bit of it. Long Island, Hyde Park, Long Island. Pilot of a Constellation-type aircraft on flight from Gander, Newfoundland to LaGuardia Field, New York, took over the airport at Gander. Field, and he departed approximately 12:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for LaGuardia Airfield in New York, at a position approximately midway between Everett, Massachusetts marker and Bedford Beacon. They cited an unidentifiable flying object. To the best of blank, the following weather conditions existed at the time. The visibility was good. The cloud coverage was 6 to 5/10, with tops at 10,000 feet, and the wind was 8,000 feet level and estimated to being 270, 25 mile per hour. So the aircraft was 8,000 feet. So he was sitting at the co-pilot's, and he first called his attention to a bright orange object, which was on the right side of the plane and slightly below the level of the aircraft, and was unable to see the object, so he had no visibility to the right and down from his position. Immediately he gleaned out his side window, and he noticed at a 45-degree angle to the left an unidentified flying object. It was about 1 mile away at an altitude of approximately 7,800 feet, banked to obtain a better view of the object. The object was under observation for approximately 30 seconds, and during this time it was described by the object as being about the length of a F-40 fuselage, a F-40 fuselage, blunt at both sides or both ends, cylindrical in shape, and having a bright orange hue. He stated that the object had a definite shape and that there was no suggestion of gaseous dissipation, as there would be if the orange color were the exhaust from a rocket or a jet aircraft. He estimated the course of the object to be 800 degrees something, and the object was traveling at approximately 150 miles an hour. He lost sight of the object when a cloud came between the aircraft and the object. The pursuit of the object was not continued, inasmuch as it would have necessitated a departure from the established airways, you all. So if you're just tuning in, they were a graduate. They read, talking about, yeah. So these are more UFOs, you all. Gobs and gobs of information. Air Defense Command Headquarters, unidentified flying objects, 15th September 1947. I don't know what month Admiral Byrd went to Middle Earth. Do you know when he went and met the leaders of Middle Earth and they said they about had enough and they weren't going to have the Earth destroyed? Is this when all these UFOs started coming out? Is this when it happened? Yeah. Oh, I'm not even looking at the comments. I have so much stuff that I share myself. If I looked at everything everyone suggested, I wouldn't even want to be on YouTube. I wouldn't, because I wouldn't even be able to share what I'm led to share or stuff like that. I don't stick to one particular subject. I just go with my spirit. But thank you for your comment. I'm sure other people can look up people if they want to find them interesting, you all. Yeah, don't take it personal if I don't look up anything you tell me to. I've got all kinds of people telling me to look at such and such. Yeah. On August the 47, Airway was the navigator of a Constellation aircraft. Did we just read this? They sighted a flying object which they were unable to identify. At this time, they were sitting in the co-pilot seat, looking to the right for other aircraft sites in the vicinity. Stated he first sighted the object. It appeared at 3 miles in length, at 1,000 feet below the normal constellation. He believes that the object, for almost 30 seconds before they called the pilot's attention, the object as being deep gold. They got a deep gold object in color this time, and that its surface reflected light. It appeared to be about 13 foot in length, from 2 to 3 feet in depth, elliptical in shape, and blunted at the ends. The speed of the object was like 175 miles per hour, and that it was traveling in easterly direction on a course of approximately 110 something. They were told, the commander, that this was unidentified flying object to the right, and they gleamed to observe the object, continuing the glimpse of it before the pilot lost of it. They do not believe that this is the same object. They had another object that it was a slender object on the other side. The same object. Yeah. So they got these objects. They got orange objects, silver objects, gold objects, cylindrical shape objects, flying discs, all kinds of objects, you all, is what we got. Tons and tons of flying objects if you're all just tuning in. And this video is not for anyone or everyone, you all. I mean, some people don't want to hear stuff like this, but you know, this is just the FBI stuff right here. All of this kind of stuff. They're talking about these objects. Whatsoever the objects are, this much can be said of their physical appearance. The surface of these objects is metallic, indicating a metallic skin at least. And when a trail is observed, it is lightly colored, a blue-brown haze that is similar to a rocket's engine's exhausts. Contrary to a rocket of the solid type, one observation indicates that the fuel may be throttled, which would indicate a liquid rocket engine. As to the shape, all of observations state that the object is circular or at least elliptical, flat on the bottom and slightly domed on the top. The size estimates place it somewhere near the size of a C-54 or a constellation. Some reports describe the two tabs located at the rear and symmetrical about the axis of flight motion. Flights have been reported from 3 to 9 of them flying good formation of each other with speeds always above 300 knots. The discs oscillate laterally while flying along, which could be snaking. Kind of snaking, you all. Oh, okay, we looked at them all. How you like that? 111 pages of this stuff right here. That was on here. 111 pages of this UFO stuff, you all. So look at this, going down through this thing. All of these documents. I can't believe I just looked at all of them, but I did, you all. That was just one. Just one. So you all can see these right here. This is the FBI vault. You can see the thing up here. Let me just go over here. Oh, no, that's not that one, Gina. Let's see if I can get this down. This is where we're at. You can go there and you can look at it. https://vault.fbi.gov. You can see all of these pages and stuff on the USO is what we can do. You can look at them. You can check them out. You can do it all, you all. So I am going to go. I am. Did I put this over here on this page? Because I wanted to put it on this page, and I don't know how far behind in this video yeah. Let me do this. I'm trying to see where I'm at in this video because I think I have a time delay on my side is what I think I've got. Okay, yeah, this is it right here. You can go there and you can look it up. You can look up the FBI stuff. You really can. You can read about the flying disc, the cylindrical disc, the orange UFO disc, the gold UFO discs, or cylindrical shapes. There's all different sizes and all different reports all over the United States, and they started doing the reporting back in 1947. Yeah, and they released it. They just kept out some minor information, so I'm going to go. And with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you, Apple Brooks, honey. And if there's any other moderator on here, let me look really fast. I know it's really late. It's 11 o'clock at night, you all. Thank you so much, and thank you for your comments.